Hello loves, it's Amy the Color Queen, and I'm back with an Adventures of the Month. I did not do last month because I didn't do anything. I only watched one show and saw 2 movies, and I thought that was not adequate, so I just compiled June and July into one big thing, so it's like a summer palooza. The format's going to be the same as last time. It's going to go books, shows, animes, and then movies. So stick around and we'll get started. The first book I read was Dracula. Now I don't have an actual book of Dracula because I read it on my Kindle and it was nice. And the reason why I started reading Dracula was because I wanted to understand the whole vampire lore and like where it all came from, and I felt like, you know, just start with the classic. And I actually really liked it. I didn't think I'd like it so much, but I did. If you haven't read it, it's set up in a series of journals and letters, and it's kind of the reader pieces it together as it goes along, and you really have to pay attention, and I really liked it. It was really cool. My favorite character was Mina because she wasn't like the stereotypical like help me, save me from like the 19th century like you usually see whenever you read classics. She was still very loving to her husband while still being super smart, and I liked her a lot. The next book that I read this month was Emerald Green. I didn't actually get to read Emerald Green like I wanted to in June because I was so busy with other stuff. But then July was when I was like, heck yeah, I can do stuff again. Anyway, I read Emerald Green. Gwen was back with her adventure, and then everything she found out was like turned around, and it was fantastic, and I loved it. And it was a nice way to end the trilogy. I am very pleased with how it ended. Like, sometimes I'm really upset with how trilogies end, but this one I was really, really happy with. So I was like, heck yes, this is good. The last book I read this month was The Strange Case of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. And I read it in like 2 sittings. Again, it was on Kindle. And I really liked it. I thought it was funny. Like, honestly, I thought it was really funny. And when I was finished with it, I was like, you know, this really does to the significance of human nature and good against evil and deep, profound thoughts that you usually have at night. I was thinking of those. And I mostly read it while I was at work. Now, bear in mind, I work at a library. Reading is acceptable. Okay, now that we're done talking about books, we're gonna go to shows. And in case you haven't realized it by now, I'm going to be talking about RWBY. I love RWBY. I am so late to the RWBY train. I wish I'd been this fandom beforehand. I watched it twice. I watched it the first time by myself in June, and then I watched it again with my sibling in July. And it's so good. And I even rewatched RWBY Chibi. My 2 favorite characters are Weiss and Yang. My love for Weiss has gotten to the point where I just want to cosplay her, and so I'm going to be cosplaying her Volume 1 through 3 outfit and her Volume 4 outfit plus. I just really like Weiss. I relate to her a lot, and I also relate to Yang a lot. If there's a mixture of Weiss and Yang, that'd probably be me, maybe. Or maybe that's just how I see myself. And I have to confess something, I didn't like Nora at first. At first she was just too much for me. And then when I started watching it the second time, I was like, oh my gosh, this girl is precious. The one boy that I loved the most was Red. He's so good. He's so good. So good. And then when I learned about like his backstory in Volume 4, I was like, oh my sweet child, I must protect you, but I also must husband you. I must do both. It was very weird, very strange. And when I finished RWBY, I got a shirt for RWBY, and then I got this very nice poster in the background of RWBY. It's so nice. I wish it was kind of smaller though, but it is what it is. I don't really hate any of the other characters in RWBY as well because they're so well written. And I actually really like Torchwood. He makes me laugh, even though he's supposed to be a bad guy. And I think he's funny. The only person that I absolutely cannot stand in that show is Cinder. Like, no. Even when you're supposed to like feel sorry for her in Volume 4, I just couldn't because I just don't like her. I don't like her at all. Moving on to the animes. The first anime is Dororo X2, which would be Durarara Season 2 or Dororo X2 Season 1. I watched the first season of Dororo X2. and I liked it. It was a nice continuation. I'm going to be watching the rest of the series, of course. And right now, before I started recording this, I was watching the second season of Dororo X2, and I was having a grand old time. I'm about halfway done with it already, and it's the second day of August. The next anime that I watched this month was New Game, and New Game is so wholesome. It's so sweet. I love it so much. It's so good. I really enjoyed it. It's about a girl named Alba who starts working at a video game company of her designing like her favorite video game series ever. But basically is about just how video game designers and character developers all work together to make a video game, and I thought it was really interesting. Himeji is my favorite. I will add a photo in the space around me. Whenever I was watching it, I saw that the second season was also airing right now, so I was like, oh, yay, got a second season, because it only came out last year, so I was like, is it gonna get a second season? It was. When I started watching it, they'd only had 2 episodes out, but now it has about 4 or 5 now, I think. I haven't seen it yet, but I will definitely watch it. The last stretch is the movies, and I watched the 3 movies. So we'll start with Moana. Yes, I hadn't seen Moana until June, and yeah, I'm late to the party, I know, but 10 out of 10, recommend. Oh my gosh, it's so cute. I had How Far I'll Go stuck in my head for many weeks. It's so good. I loved it. I wish I had seen it sooner. My favorite character was Hey, of course, because it's the chicken! The chicken! Depika was also my favorite, but I cannot remember the pig's name to save my life right now. I'll probably put it somewhere in the video. I liked the lore around it. It's pretty predictable, but that's when I was like, am I getting too old for Disney? I'm predicting things that will happen. Oh no! The next movie I watched was Wonder Woman, and it slayed my life. Now, I'm new to the whole superhero thing because when I was younger I didn't watch a lot of superhero things. I probably watched the Batman show, the live action Batman, that was like from the 60s, but that was about as much superhero I got. My family was more into Star Trek and Star Wars, so that's more of my expertise. So I'm still new to the DC/Marvel world. I thought that Wonder Woman was a fantastic place to start, and oh my gosh, it was such a good movie, and according to my friend, it was very comic accurate. She's all about the comics. I kind of predicted things that would happen, and I was like, I'm just getting too old for movies. This is just not good for me anymore. I enjoyed all the representation that was in the film, and I loved how Diana was so selfless, and I just I now like aspire to be like Diana. She's so wonderful. Just the last movie that I watched was Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the 2014 edition, and I know like there's a lot of bad reviews on it, but I personally loved it. And the reason why I watched it is because I had church camp called Super Summer in June, and I was put in a group called Green School, and our theme for that school was Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Now, I'd never been in to that fandom before, I just knew about it. All of us staffers got together and watched it at midnight while at Super Summer, and we had a good time. We had a lot of laughs. I thought it was pretty funny and actiony and just it was cute. I liked it. And my favorite turtles are Leonardo and Donatello, in case you wanted to know. That is a wrap. Thank you guys for watching. I'm still trying to figure out an outro for my stuff. I have an intro, but I don't have an outro, so whoops. Anyway, thank you for watching. See you in the next episode of Adventures of the Month. Woo!